Hi, my name is Rebecca. I'm 18 years old and I'm from Germany. And today I'm here to remind you not to forget by talking about long COVID. Imagine this morning you wake up, you open your eyes and you are just lying there in your bed. For some of us that sounds great. No pressing obligations pulling us out of the bed. No work, no school, no university. You can just lie there, do nothing. But as time passes and hunger hits, being there doing nothing won't be that much fun anymore. Now you actually would have to prepare breakfast. But remember, all you're doing is lying in your bed and existing. There's actually not much following. Standing up, preparing breakfast, or even eating would demand too much energy from your body. And now, my TED Talk won't be about how to find excuses for being late for work or school or not finishing tasks on time. My TED Talk is about those facing the harsh reality that their bodies can't handle daily routines anymore. It's about those waking up, opening their eyes, and that's all they can manage for some time. Today, tomorrow, maybe for the next 6 months or even years. No one knows. It's about those suffering from headache, brain fog, constant fatigue, weakness, concentration and sleeping problems. It's about those suffering from the illness called long COVID. An ongoing fight with a bunch of different symptoms long after you have beaten the virus. And let me make this clear, long COVID is not the same thing as a COVID-19 infection. Today, I stand in front of you to address a topic shrouded in silence. A topic no one talks about because no one wants to talk about, or because no one knows about, because no one talks about it. Show me by raising your hands how many of you are familiar with the term long COVID. While I was preparing this speech, I was surprised how few people knew about long COVID. People ask me, what do you consider as long COVID? What do you even mean with long COVID? What is that? I thought, well, maybe they're just unfamiliar with the term. So I tried it with post-COVID, long-haul COVID, I even tried it with post-accurate COVID-19. Anyways, this didn't help. I thought, wow, they really don't know. And no, I don't judge them for not knowing, but I judge this world for not teaching. For me, having a brother for almost 2 years now suffering from long COVID, this is a current topic in my mind. But before I continue, I want to make sure that every one of you knows what I'm talking about. So, what is long COVID? Let me start with the beginning. There was that thing called COVID-19 pandemic. Do you remember those days when school meant perfecting bad laptop use while pretending to pay attention to class? Or not even, which means sleeping and telling your teacher, oh, my laptop doesn't have a cam. But some of us really struggled with bad internet connections, catching only half of what we were supposed to learn. Some lacked devices or even had to be their own teacher, widening the education gap. Remember those days when we were trying to attend school while maintaining physical distance? Remember those days when we were sitting in the classroom with the windows open while it was snowing outside? Remember those days when we were trying to socialize while keeping social distance? But not only our labor market and education system all over the world was overwhelmed for the thing called COVID-19, also our economy and health system. We lost millions of people due to COVID-19's infections. People lost their jobs and borders closed. But do you also remember the variations alpha, beta, and gamma, and delta? Yes, these guys who showed us how unprepared we have been, and still are. To be fair, maybe we learned a little bit, but would we be prepared if COVID-19's brother or sister would come around? I'm not a scientist, teacher, nurse, or doctor, or politician. I'm just a girl who is seeing what is going on, or more, what is not going on, and I can tell you, no, we are not prepared. Why not? Because we don't think about the time of pandemic. It's not nice to think about it. So many people died, so many suffered, so many struggled. We don't want us to remember of those mostly bad times. But by not remembering, by forgetting, we are forgetting all those people who are still suffering from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, like my brother. And now here we are, long COVID. The World Health Organization is defining long COVID as follows. It's a continuation or development of new symptoms 3 months after the initial SARS-CoV-2 infection, with those symptoms lasting for at least 2 months with no other explanations. So that basically means that people with long COVID start to suffer again from new symptoms long after they've beaten the virus. Therefore also the name post-COVID, after COVID. Many of us didn't taste or smell anything while a COVID-19 infection. Some of us even after the infection. The loss of taste and smell is also considered as one of the symptoms of long COVID. Overall, there are many different symptoms and stories. So let me share to you some stories from all over the world. My friend from Taiwan, for example, has to face difficulties in breathing and an increase of her heart rate, and is, for example, not anymore able to do sports as she used to do it. Another example is the aunt of a classmate from the UK. She used to be a very busy and active person, traveling across the country and loved to be in a garden. But now those things and simple activities like cooking, visiting friends, or even driving are only rarely possible. She's suffering from long COVID for more than 2 years now. First, she slowly developed the symptoms of headache and felt more and more exhausted. Therefore, she tried to slow down and to do less. That helped, and she could enjoy life a bit again. But after a cold around last Christmas, the symptoms returned. Now, mindfulness, breathing exercises, discipline, and patience help her to stay calm. Another story is from Annika. Annika is a student from Finland. She suffers from long COVID since January 2022. Her symptoms are headache and different types of pain, and many more. Therefore, she hasn't been able to attend school for more than a year now. She even relied on a wheelchair to do things she couldn't do without it. I strongly feel that Annika should be the person standing here today, speaking out to the world, and to just tell one of the untold stories. Therefore, allow me to read to you one of her emails which she sent to me. It feels so absurd that society decides which diseases are acceptable and which are not. If I got cancer or MS, people would believe me when I say that I'm really sick. I can't do certain things even if I want to. But with long COVID, I always have to convince people that this sickness is real. It is not in my head and I'm not making it up. One thing that is certainly not helping is that I don't really look sick. So people often assume that I'm well. Even if I'm at my lowest and sickest, people tell me that I look healthy. It hurts because it makes me feel like that I don't have the permission to be ill. It is so hard to watch people living their lives when I'm just trying to survive somehow. Sometimes I feel that other people are here on Earth and I'm far away in space, just watching them living their best lives. That I can see them, but they can't see me. In Finland, there aren't many ways to help people with long COVID, because healthcare here is so focused on the psychology theory of long COVID, so they forgot about everything else. I'm 100% sure that long COVID is a biological disease, and it won't get away by waiting it to go. When I try to forget the sickness and live normally, it just got worse, like a lot worse. The thing that has helped me is listening to my body and doing things slowly in small pieces. So you see, there are many different stories and symptoms all around the world. In the beginning, I already was mentioning some of the most common symptoms, such as fatigue, weakness, concentration, and sleeping problems. But on top of these common symptoms, there even exist more typical symptoms for long COVID, like difficulties in breathing, shortness of breath, chest pain, memory problems, trouble with speaking. fever, and anxiety, depression, and so on and on. So can we just forget about the pandemic and everyone who's still suffering from it? I don't think so. It can be so bad that some only can concentrate for 10 minutes, and after that concentration fades again. Having to try to sleep again, and are, for example, not anymore able to prepare their breakfast properly. The World Health Organization writes, over 200 different symptoms have been reported, which can have an impact on everyday functions. I think you can imagine that people with those symptoms clearly have to face difficulties in their daily life. Because of all these different symptoms, it's even hard to identify that someone suffers from long COVID. For some, those symptoms keep getting worse and worse over time. For others, they're getting better and less painful, and for yet others, they keep changing and come and go. So you see, the long COVID condition varies a lot from person to person, which also makes it so hard to find a specific treatment for it, or to just understand the illness. Right now, there's sadly no specific treatment, which is, in my opinion, a shocking fact, because there are so many people out there who would need this treatment. But on how fast we find it also depends on how much attention we draw on this topic. Also the fact that many not even have heard about long COVID just proves that this issue hasn't found its voice in society yet. But I'm not here because I like it to complain or to judge. I'm here today because I'm scared. When I left for my exchange half year 2 years ago, I didn't expect to come back and to find my brother in front of me being a different person. When I left, I remember him as a very active person, always on the go. For example, he produced music and sometimes worked as a DJ. But when I came back, he could hardly move. He couldn't participate in any sports anymore. He couldn't go to work either. Indeed, he only takes about 500 steps a day, and he only can concentrate for a few minutes before his concentration fades again. He suffers from a lot of different symptoms, such as headache and nerve pain. And this has been ongoing now for 2 years. Now, studying abroad again. What will happen when I come back? No one knows. Not even the doctors can tell. That is what scares me. He's constantly looking for ways to deal optimally with his illness. For example, he's traveling across the country in hope of finding help. However, the challenge remains. No one really knows what to do. Many doctors' at loss or counterproductive methods are being put into practice. Now, imagine individuals out there making fun of long COVID, using this as an excuse for why people do not longer attend work or school. Now, put yourself into the shoes of someone suffering from long COVID, not being taken serious or being invisible to society. Now, picture enduring suffering all day long with no end in sight. Now, consider the absence of specific medical support and financial help. Now, how can we move forward? It's time to raise awareness about this issue. It's time to speak up for more research, for better medical support and financial help. But it's not true to say the world doesn't care, because it does, but do we care enough? At least you do, since you're here and listening to me. Therefore, let us unite and demand to tackle this urgent issue. Let us not forget about the pandemic and the effects of it, like long COVID. Let us raise our voices. Let us speak up, so that no one is not talking about it because no one knows about it. Let us draw attention on long COVID. Let us try to make the unseen seen. Thank you for caring and listening.